let's begin Leviathan. The code is I, Fragment, and Glass, according to Denver. She done did a fine job, boss. Yeah, I think they're still in the art museum, right? Last Yen spoke through the radio, his voice obscured by small voices and interference. I could give him a response without being audible, but I decided against it. There was no time to be loitering around sending my thoughts when that person was ahead of us. And now, we take a turn in this direction. Yeah? Okay. One must accompany a guide to explore the ring's corridor. The reason, is that the corridor has countless doors. The passageways connect to one another by intricate and complex rules. Getting lost in a space as linear as a corridor may sound unlikely, but I'm sure it's more than possible in this one. In the footage she filmed, Lapis showed us our destination in the corridor, and the guide here, this ring member, brought us to the entrance. And as they say, one who knows where the journey begins and ends will not lose the way. In other words, now that we're allowed in the corridor, there's no need for a guide. Ooh. Nice art. This is by the Ruina guy, right? Here we arrive at the VIP room, Mr. Redgaze. Please wait here until Master Jumsoon arrives to give you a more detailed explanation of the art. Having outlived their usefulness, the guide's words fade away with no ears to fall upon. Next, the guide's body loses balance and collapses, the ankles having been Jesus. Sir? Garnet was always like that. Even though he's witnessed a good many deaths he could do nothing about. Even though he's realized that the warm hands of a comrade on his shoulder could cast him aside and measure the price of his life at any moment. Even though he was aware that this world is far too removed from ideals like reasons or ethics for him to consider the tragedies he's seen as wrongful. What are you? He is always distraught by the suffering inflicted before his eyes. Infiltration ended once we entered the corridor, Garnet. That's why I have to deliver this as matter-of-factly as I can. I want Garnet to grow into a person who doesn't agonize over the sufferings. We should try and make this quick. This gladius is fitted with a heating mechanism. The searing heat of the blade cauterizes the wound. It prevents this guide, whose only fault was letting us in, from bleeding out. They will likely survive. Are you sure about that? You cut them off from their feet. I don't know if I'd want to, survive with that kind of wound. That's, traumatizing. They might recover from the concussion sooner or later and call for backup. But this is no time to spill blood. It's the city. Just get new feet. I guess so. Garnet's eyes dim upon hearing my words. Whether it be the lune of disillusion, despair, or expectation, it doesn't matter. I want him to soak in the darkness, to let it slowly consume him. It's what he needs to live a normal life. Can't afford to repeat the scarcity of time to you twice. Let's move. Leaving behind a deliberately cold remark, I walked on. A branching path. A passage that seemed to extend endlessly came to an intersection. The correct path was already determined, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to let Garnet come up with an answer. I maintained a willful silence, waiting for him to speak up. I think we should take a right turn. I just feel like that's the right way. Yeah, right turn is right. I understand, Garnet. He may not know it himself, but Garnet is good at deconstructing and piecing together information. Internalizing the 7 associations' workflow he's seen during their fixer qualification test might have helped, but I believe most of it can be attributed to his powers of observation that stem from the refusal to be a mere bystander to the suffering of others. It's no surprise you feel that way. You know where we started and where to go. A correct answer deserves an apt explanation, I began to mutter. One can only find their way in this corridor by recognizing those 2 points. Since we know them, we can traverse by feeling what directions to take. A version of causality, was it? I think I remember being taught in the association's training program that some singularities take advantage of this. That's right. Try to talk less to other fixers or clients. No one in the city becomes a fixer who is in the learning stages. Make yourself look better than you are if it helps you earn your keep. Oops. Understood! Vim is restored in Garnet's eyes. As easily as he is disheartened, he can shake off the gloom just the same. Oh my god, gloom? Although I had no grounds to call it his faith, it's how his emotions usually flowed. That things will work out despite it all. Confusing a W and a B is something that... Huh? Huh? What did I... Wait, huh? What did I mistake? I don't know what I misread. For a prosperous life in the city, perhaps such a mindset could be useful in the long term. You said becoming or something. Becoming? Huh. I even see a word that looks like becoming. Oh, what's this? Hear footsteps. Reaching the end of the hallway, I could see someone approaching. Oh, welcomes/becomes. Oh, okay. I could sense someone approaching from around the corner. Long steps, composed and nonchalant. A tall person, estimated to be at least 180 centimeters in height. Furthermore, someone who could stroll around the corridor like it's their own home. They're right around the corner! Meaning it's a docent. Is that how you say that word? Docent? Docent? Docent's Creek. Sounds right? Docent? Okay. A guest wandering around the ring's corridor without a guide leading them can only be one thing: an unwelcome visitor. The docent bursts out in pure rage the moment their eyes reach us. I knew it. You were just another money-grubbing fixer after all. You used Master Jumsoon's passion for art to feed your own greed. The docent didn't seem to have any patience for my side of the story, as she gripped the pole tight and started running at me. An entirely emotional act, her reason dominated by anger. The action I should take was made clear at that moment. Make sure that you aren't ahead of me, Garnet. Just as I felt the tiny movement of Garnet lightly nodding in the corner of my left eye. Oh my god, they're clashing. This really is a Limbus. The steel pole flew in with unhesitating force and fiercely clashed against the blade of the gladius, creating a repulsive noise. It's more solid than I anticipated. The swing I made with the intent to cut through the weapon didn't go as planned. I shouldn't have allowed you to meet Master Jumsoon! A furious scream flies straight into my face. It's undoubtedly out of an unadulterated rage. Alas. In order to draw out the full strength of wrath, it has to be rid of spite first. Is this the instrumental? No, that's not the instrumental. No vocals. Sorry. In order to draw out the full strength of wrath, it has to be rid of spite first. A refined wrath becomes the power to overcome hardships, while spiteful anger only clouds the eyes. Yeah, get an absolute wrath resonance, buddy. For instance, in a narrow space like this corridor, it would have been wiser to avoid engaging in close combat using a weapon as long as the docents. However, those consumed by wrath will only lash out feverishly in a clash of emotions. This is gonna make things simpler. Squeak! An unpleasant hiss of metal scratching on metal. Her slight quivering and the noisy friction does not go unnoticed. As soon as I kick the lower part of the lengthy pole, all the weight she placed on the front collapses on her. Naturally, her body begins to tilt in the other direction. The docent is leaning more and more, and her pole is pinned down by the edges of the sword, disarmed. Completely defenseless. Lifting my other arm, I landed a fist directly on the unguarded solar plate. I'm surprised you didn't slash her in half. I could feel her breastbone deform and break into... Well, I guess he doesn't need to with a punch like that. Before she was sent flying towards the end of the corridor. Garnet. With my eyes locked on the target, I sought out a glimpse of the presence behind my back and whispered in his direction. Go find the lab and get in there first. Just me? Is that really gonna be okay? Saying it will be fine won't relieve Garnet of his concern. I'll need something to convince him. I took my coat off along with the sheath and handed it to Garnet. Sir, that's... Take my gladius. In all of his floundering, he managed to equip the coat and the sword firmly. The mental keywords Lan Yen relayed to you. You remember those, right? Our goal as well. Of course. Even if he was prone to waver in his feelings, he was upright at his core. That was the important thing. The pitiful and heart-rending struggle to hold his roots fast, grasping onto the smallest specks of dirt. That's what matters the most. You're not going anywhere. The docent stood up in the forking passage of the corridor. It was clear from the get-go that breaking a bone or two wouldn't incapacitate them. There's just one thing. I'll deal with the obstacle. Path should be clear to your eyes as well. Right! I only needed a second to adjust the direction a little. What are you babbling about? A different color of outrage is painted over her pure rage. Even if she can't hear the conversation, stopping in the middle of battle to have a casual exchange with a third party was sure to enrage her for being ignored. That's what I was looking for. The layer upon layer of anger was going to dull the sharpness of her mind. You're not getting away! I gathered strength in my legs. The feeling is rather different from controlling muscles. It's more akin to hydraulic cylinders and motors pumping energy into my right leg. I thought for a second he was gonna say it's like a hydraulic press. My muscles are like a hydraulic press. My next attack won't be easy to keep track of. The distance is closed in an instant. Like a marble launched from a slingshot, I approach the target at great speed. This momentum is asking to be exerted. This docent's about to become like those YouTube videos of like crushing Furbies. I simply opened my palm and placed it under my opponent's chin. Her head was thrown back to an almost unnatural degree. Using an augmented body is not unlike driving a car. What are you talking about, Virgilius? The procedure on my legs allowed me to maneuver them similar to how you feed energy into a car's engine, and speed it up by stepping on the accelerator. You could also argue that augments are like vehicles, and that the feel of use as well as proficiency can differ depending on the manufacturer and model. However, a vehicle is ultimately a tool. It's up to the driver to operate it. I am not unlike a car because too many people want to ride me. True. That is true. So my voice is starting to get a little Does my throat hurt? Oh my god. I haven't been streaming that long. Why is my throat hurting? As I figured when I broke her breastbone, this woman is tough. Her cervical vertebrae are still intact from an impact that would have shattered those of a regular member. Even though she's passed out, it was only for a moment. That fleeting moment was all I needed. Garnet. My arm extends and once again finds its fist in the center of her chest. The macabre sensation of broken bones being further buried into the body can be felt, and the feeling of the organs and muscles around them being torn apart is delivered through the skin. Project Moon players are biologically inclined to have a negative reaction to reading. It doesn't quite lead to the feeling of a life being snuffed out. She had already detached from the fist, tumbling through a door at the end of the corridor. I continued the sentence that had gone wayward for a second. No. Got it. Garnet started sprinting after a brief answer. I could have pursued the opponent and finished her off right away, but I chose to send Garnet on his way first. Incapacitating a docent of the ring without using weapons was gonna take some time. After watching Garnet turn the corner, I walked through the broken doorway. What kind of place is this? This is one hell of a building. A massive hall, a myriad of purposeless doors. Oh, those are doors. Okay. Lined the walls as far as the eye could see. There's no use in telling ceilings, walls, and floors apart from each other. If the door were to reassemble itself, it might have no way to return. That's how this hall was designed. The docent finally makes a smile. Ew. If you know what kind of place this is, then you should know that it was a huge mistake to walk into this hall. Well, can't say if it was. It does sound like something I've heard often. Bluffing, are you? That one is not something I've heard often. The docent corrects her posture and lunges at me. She looks ready to engage with me from a distance this time, either having calmed down or having determined that she would have the upper hand in this place. Unfortunately for her, she will not have that space. Artificially weaved muscle fibers once again build up strength. Propelled with explosive force, I reached her without delay. A fist is struck upon her chest yet again. The impact of my hand, colliding with her solar plexus, or the sorry remainder of bruised flesh where it once used to be, is sent to me. I don't know why that's reminding me of Azumanga Daioh, because of the fucking solar plexus punch scene in Azumanga Daioh. But I started watching Nichijou yesterday, actually. It's about fucking time I started watching that anime. I'm on episode 3 of it right now. But I'm liking it. Sometimes it feels like a bit too much random humor, but the animation in Nichijou is really, really good. Let's see, where was I at? Oh, there it is. If I can drop her off the edge into the bottomless chasm before she can regain her balance, the fight will be over. There's a faint sound of crackling and shifting. Finally. However, the tenacity of that docent was nothing to scoff at. After taking 3 blows in the same spot, she adapts to the attack and manages to stay in place, returning a bloodied smirk. The hall stirs with a strange noise, as though the floor wished to become the ceiling. The compartment the two of us were standing on began to steeply incline. If I hadn't been here before, I would have been in danger of losing my footing. If I hadn't, that is. You. The wish of the hall had come true. The docent was hanging onto the edge of the wall that now became a cliff. Though she's certainly at a disadvantage, her eyes are still animated. The stubborn determination to live, an urge to ascend the ledge at the slightest chance, was burning into her eyes. And right now, I am above her, a foot stretched right before her eye. It's an interesting weapon. How? I'll drag you to the abyss with me! I don't know. It certainly looks like I have the high ground. God damn it, Rachel. Prolonging this battle any longer could pose danger. I have to end it now. Right. No! No! It was something called Shin, if I remember her words correctly. Shut up. In that case, 2 Hmong should be enough. I deaden my breath and clear my mind. Rummaging through this bag of memories, I carefully fumble around the recollections and pick the heaviest and densest ones to fill my emptied head. A group of children about half as tall as my waist gathers around me. Don't look at me. Boxes wrapped in colorful papers, prepared for the kids. Snow-covered streets celebrating creation. Oh, he's having a mental breakdown to become powerful. You did that to yourself. I wasn't even thinking about it. Emotions that may be trivial to others, and that are far more plentiful than I deserve. The decay of such emotions that I could call absolution. A bundle that resembled the sunlight scattered away, like beams fading behind dark clouds. I remember every single moment of it, engraved all of them into my eyes. The Luna of hope I felt that day, and the Luna of despair I felt that day. Okay, why is this image cut off? Whether... Huh. Okay. I guess we just... Can you right click on it? No. Cause it's a PDF. Hold on. Yeah, I can't do anything with it. Hold on, maybe... Oh, can't do that. Yeah, no, that doesn't do anything. Maybe get a direct link. Okay, hold on. Yeah, give it the old highlight. Damn. Interesting. Yeah. Oh. Why is it cut off like that? Huh. Weird. 2 rings of light that resemble the glow of the moon wrap around my leg. Carrying this nightly luster, the leg sorrowfully lands on the docent as she climbs up the cliff, screaming. With such lightness that I can barely hear the footfall, a sound so quiet that it's masked by her last gasp. In a most airy descent, the moonlit leg crushed the docent's miserably wounded chest. It was neither the augmentation, blood pressure, nor the contraction of muscles. The only thing that moved was the mind. Kicking off with a recoil of the heart, I returned through the broken door presented by the hall. So, this is the power of the light she mentioned. The power of sin. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna read over this stuff. Okay, so this is the docent's design. Oh my god, they pulled a Kaneki Ken. They went from black hair to white hair. Cool design. Alright, let me pull up the next chapter. There you go. Interesting. My legs felt like stones. The fact that this was the first time Mr. Virgilius and I were separated since we came to the Rings Gallery had been weighing on me. Oh! Garnet point of view now. To be honest, it isn't just the gallery. Most of the time, he's been with me to help me with work lately. And when he wasn't around, other experienced fixers have kept me company. Being in those groups limited my role, but I was able to go unharmed thanks to them. Then, perhaps, these heavy footsteps I'm taking right now might be my first leap towards being an independent fixer. I couldn't help but sigh. The corridor was narrow, but unfathomably long. What will I do if I go the wrong way? What if the door handle was booby-trapped? Even if it isn't, what if the door doesn't lead to where I want? No, what if I ran into an unexpected foe and got trounced before I could even reach my destination? Take my Gladius. That's what he told me. I can only assume the reason he gave me his gladius was because he couldn't put his full trust in my capabilities. Still, trusting me with his weapon may have been his way of showing that he does have a bit of faith in me. If that's the case, and if I want to repay his partial trust, I have to do this right. Come on, pull yourself together, Garnet. Collecting my thoughts, I closed my eyes. Doors of an identical shape, their numbers out of order. There's one correct door that must be among them. In my head, I slowly retraced Lan Yen's intel and the footage Lapis risked her life to film. My memory does not fail me. I clearly remember the starting point and the goal from the video. Room 718. The destination wasn't too far from where I was. He has faith in me. It's definitely not that he's giving me some billions of on murder weapon because it should carry me. Fragment in glass. Although I was never taught how to use mental keyword locks, the door opened by just thinking the words. It was so simple and effortless. It made all my concerns moot. Gripping back tension before I could loosen up, I gently entered the open door to the laboratory. To the laboratory that I saw in the video. With each step I take, my neurons fire off furiously. Every little thing that comes into my sight brings up a past lesson. For example, the corner up ahead. In the 7 Association seminar, they advised us to hold our breath for a moment and keep our ears open for possible footsteps whenever we approach the center of the corner of a path. There might be a trap just out of view, or an ambush waiting to strike unsuspecting victims. Also, I'm just gonna spoon feed you this because you didn't catch this. This is another ring lab. You know, oh, like the one in Wuthering Heights. Oh! The sound of my swallowed saliva rings loudly in my ears. It only seems loud because I'm nervous, I consoled to myself as I quietly leaned on the wall and pictured what was around the corner. Faint and low-pitched sounds, the time between footsteps, and the occasional chatter. 2 people are around the corner. Fortunately, they didn't seem to have noticed me. Unfortunately, though, this corridor is way too clean. I didn't see any objects or props I could use as cover on the way here, and it'd be reasonable to guess that there won't be any ahead either. Conflict is probably, unavoidable. You gotta be aware of your limits and know what moves you can and can't make in battle. While tightening my grip on his gladius, I was reminded of Rikako's words. She would often make insightful remarks. It kinda bothers me that her stare falls on me whenever she says such things, but I'm sure she meant well with the advice. And it was thanks to her that I could shake off thoughts beyond my level right now. When my Levi has a tan. What, did they become a Gajinka? Garnet, don't let people backseat you. Hey there, Linux. Hope you're doing good. In all likelihood, trying to mimic the surprise attacks Mr. Virgilius often performs won't work out. I'm not built like him. Wait, wasn't this a comic? Yes. And now it is a web novel because it was too much work to do a manga. Lol. LMAO. And also, issues arose with the manga artist as well, on top of that, I believe. Well, I'm not gonna complete it now. That's when I thrust the sword into a vital point with my right arm. Don't worry, neither did they. Project Moon be able to hire an artist that doesn't have a meltdown. Challenge impossible. I suppose losing my left arm is a price I can deal with. Deciding to give up my non-dominant left arm instead of my right arm was a result of weighing my options. Not one singular completed piece of side content. And he wants to do an anime, by the way. Wait, this one also has no ending? It kinda does? Well, I guess you could view them as continuing into Limbus, but yeah. The fucking webtoon that actually got completed is no longer available publicly. Distortion Detective got cut off at the Blood Fiend fight. It has an ending. I'm not willing to assume they did everything they wanted to do here, given the issues. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Kim. I don't think you should be doing an anime. If you can't even get someone to finish a manga for you, I don't think you should put that much funds into something that's probably gonna blow up in flames. I'm done with some parentheses. I mean, at least it's not Distortion Detective. Distortion Detective just ended in the middle of a battle. If it's better than that, that's at least something. That's when I thrust the sword into a vital point with my right arm. Oh wait, I already read that. I heard prosthetic replacements for frequently used body parts cost more. Something about it being trickier to replicate the muscle mass and nerve compatibility. I mean, no. It was going to be a battle, but then it ended. Jane Bloodfiend just went, go kill the other assholes downstairs. I felt pathetic for having thoughts like these. Well, shouldn't it still have been a battle though? Because like Limbus, they're like an authority on like how to go against blood fiends. So I thought the implication was that they knew how to handle Jane Bloodfiend. But I guess not. I guess they just know the blood bags and lower blood fiends. No, shut up. I don't know if I'd call Moses' advice expert like she fought him. Yeah, I don't know why. I just assumed she fought them. Also, to be fair, Moses did say LMAO. No, Ladier would have beat my fucking ass. I felt pathetic for having thoughts like these. Why am I making plans with the premise that I'm gonna lose an arm before I've even begun fighting? Shouldn't I be thinking of ways to get through this without losing any limbs? These aren't the kinds of thoughts he would have. Only I wasn't such a milksop. The footsteps grew close enough to drown out my stray thoughts. There's no time left to strategize. I'm pushover. So I should do what a pushover can to win. What? Yusong Garnet identity, when? Don't remember how I made the leap. The target's frightened breath, their shoes squeaking against the floor in response to the sudden assault. The fluttering of white gowns, and the terrified faces of two researchers entered my senses as disconnected snapshots. Hopefully never. Can you imagine if Yusong got a Garnet ID and like Virgilius had to be like, why are you using that card? What the fuck is wrong with you, Dante? Just wait like one chapter. Garnet's gonna die. Okay. Despite being members of the ring, my opponents didn't appear to be good fighters. However, they seemed to have some means of self-defense, judging from the way they reached into their coats. I gave them an exploitable opening, moving my left arm their way. Jeez, not a critical spot. Bracing for serious pain in my arm, I stabbed the gladius into one researcher's heart with all my might. I could feel the gladius push its tip through their muscles, but the pain crossing my left arm never came. Were they too struck with panic to attack? When I glanced at my left arm, I saw that my coat had stopped the blade in its tracks. That explains why he gave me the coat as well. He before I could let gratitude and relief set in, the researcher at their side now charged me with their weapon drawn. Stay away! I swung my gladius in an attempt to hit the blade of the dagger they pulled out. Then I felt a strange click from the hilt. Huh? Clank! Instead of blades striking against each other, the sound of one separated from its base, falling to the ground, had reached my ears. It fell off the dagger like melted ice cream. The heating mechanism. I remembered the guide's wound being cauterized by Mr. Virgilius's sword. And now, the same burn was left on the upper half of this researcher's body, split in two and dropped on the floor. Astonished by the sharpness of his gladius that can cut through a person's body smoothly, and the durability of the coat I'm wearing, I felt a small pang of guilt for the two bodies on the floor. However, that soon subsided once I reminded myself of where they worked. Did Virgilius use... Was Virgilius's fight in Wuthering Heights, did he inflict burn on enemies? I forgot what his movesets were from that one fight. It's been a bit. He inflicted super thermogenesis, if you count that. Okay. Sounds about right. Looking for the kids I saw being tortured in laboratory machines, I ran across the corridor. Lapis! The place was far more repugnant than in the footage. Thinking of my friends who must be resting in discomfort inside those rows of test tubes made my stomach turn. It's how you increase the refraction rate. Noted, if the refraction rate is too high. Following the sound of familiar voices, I found Rikako and Nansu wearing M-Corps attire. Some researchers seemed to be giving them explanations of the experiment they were doing. I see. So this lever... I could sense relief in the eyes of our two fake M-Corps employees when we exchanged glances. Rikako chuckled and nudged her chin, while Nansu gave me a discreet thumbs up. Yeah, I think I've heard just about all I need. Pardon? But I haven't even started on the glass window superposition of the linkage. Forget it. You must be tired from all the lab work, so why don't you take a sweet nap? Nansu? Garnet? Thermogenesis is the process of heat production in organisms. Yeah, that's Burn, I guess. The savior of Burn, Virgilius. How is the new Yi song, by the way? Is the new Yi song good for Burn team? There we go. Beat their ass. Rikako's fist hits the flabbergasted researcher in the stomach. Meanwhile, Nansu snuck up on the researcher next to him and choked him from behind. In the time it took him to deprive the researcher of consciousness, Rikako had already taken down 3. There were 7 researchers in the lab. Rikako and Nansu knocked out 3, each in less than 5 minutes. I mean, Burn has so few units that you're 100% getting an upgrade, even if it's weird janky bullshit like LCE Faust. But Liu Sung is pretty good in my opinion. Nice. I hope I can get him soon then. I'm trying to build up my Burn team. I just finished leveling up my LCE Faust. So she's ready for my Burn team now. Kinda asked for count, but count's never been a problem in Burn. Also, hey there, Misha! There were 7 researchers in the lab. Rikako and Nansu knocked out 3 each in less than 5 minutes. I was able to subdue the last one with ease. It boosted my confidence to get a feel for what his sword and coat were capable of. Though, of course, I still had a long way to go to get on the level of these skilled fixers. Garnet, did you get here from the corridor by yourself? You've gotten pretty good. Nansul showered me with praise and raised thumbs. That wasn't anything impressive. All I did with our boss's sword and coat was beat a few pansies who couldn't wield a knife to save their lives. Ma'am, I saw you cheer for him while he fought, yelling, "Yeah, go get him," and such. True. I did, but only because it was so insufferable to watch. What, you have a problem? Mikako made a gruff reply. Their quarreling that used to have me concerned about the state of the team felt like a breath of fresh air here. Perhaps in these moments of relieving tension that helped them complete so many field jobs. Mr. Virgilius will be back soon. How are things going on your side? We were able to figure out the controls and how the machines work without much trouble. We wasted a bit of time thanks to Nansul being a total bungler with machines. But hey, this wasn't a half-bad record. Oh, come now, I only struggled one time. Bunny! Oh, Thunder! I'ma pet you? Really? Oh, thank you for the head pats. Back when I was your grade, it only took me a glimpse to get stuff all figured out. Fixers these days are raised too soft. Oh, Bunny, there you go. Mikako's words made my heart beat with anticipation. The two of them were assigned the roles of gaining entry into the lab while disguised as Moonlight Stone Couriers, since they earned higher fixer grades. Not through stunning combat expertise, but through a plethora of certificates for various professions. We needed skilled personnel to deal with all these buttons and levers, as careless handling could cause terrible accidents like what was filmed in the footage. I remember hearing from Denver that the reason Rikako keeps Nansul around, even though she scolds him like this daily, is that he has skills worth developing. She wouldn't have talked to him in the first place if he was an actual lost case. That's what Denver had added as she giggled. God, every time I hear this song, I think it's Skullgirls music. I have to like take a look at my YouTube and be like, oh, did it autoplay onto Skullgirls music? No, this is Limbus. In any case, having two capable fixers with me lessened my worries. Then we can start rescuing my friends now. Where should we start? I asked in an admittedly hopeful tone. I wanted to rescue the kids as soon as possible and find Lapis. Oh. The two didn't look too delighted, however. Mikako made a perplexed face. And Nansul slunk his eyes away. I was familiar with this air. It was after watching Lapis's videotape at the office. My plea to hurry and rescue her was met with a similar coldness. Garnet, our primary objective is to seize the singularity. Don't you remember? It's the reason we got into this job. Mikako said in a slightly frustrated but appeasing tone. And I knew that. Fixers are motivated by the sense of interest. I was well aware that I should grow accustomed to this and adopt their mindset sooner rather than later. But still. I know, but if you know the controls, it shouldn't be an issue to stop the machines now. I'm not demanding that we push everything else aside to save my friends by force. If they knew how to operate the machines, surely there's nothing stopping them from getting the subjects out. I tried to persuade Rikako with that logic. About that, things got a bit more complicated, Garnet. Huh, this is some weird casino music. We go into a casino in Limbus? Well, no, it's like, specifically the start of that song sounds like a battle theme from Skullgirls. That's when Nansu reluctantly brought up something. I understand. Yeah, I get it. I agree. We thought we could just turn the machines off and set your friends free. But we learned on closer inspection that the data will reset once the machine's shut down. Which means, in short, losing the data means we lose our chance at seizing the singularity. So, the kids will have to wait. Mikako always based her priorities on value, and when two objectives were in conflict, she would discard the one with less worth without batting an eye, even if it killed a bunch of children. I love the city I live in. Perhaps remaining level-headed throughout the process is what allowed her to climb to where she stands now. I can't help but wonder how I look in her eyes. An immature rookie who whines when things aren't going his way. An incompetent fledgling, unfit to work as a fixer. Or worse. She might not be thinking of me as a colleague at all. Her priorities might have shifted a little, had the subjects lying in the tubes been acquaintances of her coworker. But, wait. I knew it. Nope. Shut the fuck up, Roja. Silence, Rodian. Not today. An immature rookie who whines when things aren't going his way. An incompetent fledgling, unfit to work as a fixer. Or worse, she might not be thinking of me as a colleague at all. Her priorities might have shifted a little, had the subjects lying in the tubes been acquaintances of her coworker. But what if something happens while downloading the data? And here I was, miserably insisting on the unreasonable once more, knowing all this. Garnet, let's say that we open these tubes right now to save those kids and lose the data. What next? We'll need some leverage to use in our favor if we want to get out of this alive after provoking the ring. Ma'am? Nunsul looked at Rikako as if he wanted to stop her, but she went on. Our boss would probably manage, no problem. He's a color and everything. But what about me and Nunsul? And the people of our office? And you? She rebuked even harder, and then continued with a vague look on her face that didn't appear to signal anger or sadness. I don't think I can handle spending the rest of my life being chased by the ring. Are you prepared to bear that responsibility for us, Garnet? An agonizing silence fills the air. The most agonizing of all was my own behavior. All I could do was stare down at my feet, unable to stand my ground against Rikako's argument. Oh! Hey, Skycon! Welcome, welcome! Hello! I thought I was ready to face this when I asked Mr. Virgilius for help over the payphone. I thought that even if saving Lapis was an arduous ordeal, I'd be able to do it with the help from the office and from him. But in the end, even that stereotypical feat of overcoming hardship was the preserve of those with power. That's why Rikako and Nunsul had been planning ahead, looking far into the future, taking into account what kind of organization the ring is, the ramifications of getting into conflict with this syndicate, the losses it will cause, the gains they could reap if the operation is a success in spite of the risks. All of it. Can I bear that responsibility? Of course I can. I can't even be sure of my own immediate future. So how would I do something far-sighted planners aren't confident they can manage? There's just no way. Even so, I know all the kids lying in these tubes by name. But you two don't. You don't know the soured sweetness of half-melted candy sticking to its wrapper, held inside a small, patient palm for hours and hours. Look, I get that you're meant to feel for the kid and all, but he talks like the fucking drill tweet. This one was... I was one of the villains in WWE. My name was Loser Fuckface Nerd. And my catchphrase was, I can't fight them, they're too strong. I like Garnet. He's very obviously the type of character that if he was in Limbus, he would immediately die in the chapter that he is introduced. But I like those characters, depending on how they're handled. It's just Sinclair, but more of a bitch somehow. Well, I guess that explains why I like him then, because I like Sinclair. Bunny, do you do bedtime stories commissions? I I can do bedtime story requests. I don't know if I should get paid for it, but I will read you a bedtime story, Thunder. Oh, you mean Sinclair? Shut up. Shut up. Let me see. Where was I at? You don't know the chilly breaths we had to let out to make the fanciest drawings on frosted windows during a cold day with broken heaters. Our inherent dearth gave richness to each moment of our lives. So, we weren't related by blood, but we were family nonetheless. I know all of them. I sank to my knees at the cruelty of having to weigh the lives of my dying siblings against profit and loss. Garnet. But how awful it was that I still couldn't reject it. You're right about everything. No, I'm actually not sure if you are. But it's just so upsetting that it sounds right. I don't know what I can say to prove you wrong. But who's gonna tuck me in bed? Well, I can tuck you in bed. I'll do it for free. Free service. Free bed tucking, reading storybook, and giving hot cocoa service. Starting now. Let me see, where was I at? I get how you feel. The wall of helplessness you've hit is another name for reality. So, you need to accept it. We can't afford to live in fantasies. I can untuck you from bed. It's also free. Oi, don't do that! Nunsul put it sedately, to which Rikako shrugged. It's a hurdle every fixer has to go through to become the high-caliber workforce. Right, Nunsu? He used to be a bit ditzy, too. I'm used to it now. Nunsul said in agreement, though his smile left his face for a second. Perhaps we all have a stage of pupation we must go through, once we've hardened enough and fully prepared ourselves to leave the cocoon. Only then will we begin our own fight. Spinning out the silk from my head to toe, inside the warm cocoon, I dreamt to be like you. Gonna invest in this bony, comfy, sleek company. Oh! Hold on. I gotta distort. Give me a second. Oh no! Oh no! Fuck. Can't believe you've done this. Wrong track, bun. I don't know why we keep pausing butt face. Like, it's 50 points, and if you can't read, it's your own damn fault. That is true. I feel like after a certain point, y'all need to read your descriptions for redeems. Glorp, glorp, glorp. Oh, hey there, Bongus. I'm like fucking Gaku and handsome with this face. I look kinda like a yam. Yam face. Once we've hardened enough and fully prepared ourselves to leave the cocoon, only then will we begin our own fight. Hold on, can I want to do something? Long neck. Wait, you guys can't see it. Long neck. Let's fucking go. Okay, hold on. Don't distort. We're done distorting. Go back down. In this metaphor, I'd only be a small larva just beginning to make my cocoon. I hope the pain that will mold me into a butterfly is sensible. Alright, that's enough of that. Time to get back to business. You cool, Garnet? Giraffe boy. Earthy giraffe boy. Mikako saw me give a weak nod, then turned to Nansu. Hey, Nansu! Why don't we make better use of the lab space now that there's no one here to interrupt us? We're gonna have to hurry, though. Sure thing, ma'am. Nansu replied casually. He then entered the control room to work with the panels. I can save them. Mikako and Nansu are quick with their work. There'll definitely be a chance once they're finished with the singularity. Wondering what could be taken as a resolution to myself, or an excuse to my friends still trapped in the machines, I headed for the entrance. I wanted to be ready to fend off intruders in case any appeared. However, I heard the clacking of shoes coming from a completely unexpected direction. Someone was walking into this place from inside the control room. It was the person with multiple rings. The auctioneer, Mr. Virgilius, and I saw. Uh-oh. What's a mace droid doing here? I heard Rikako's confused exclamation. All of us probably shared the same feeling. Well, I guess they're gonna die. It's been a diversion after all. Sneaking into the lab while your allies joined the auction. Jumsoon was calm in spite of the incapacitated ring members and researchers collapsed on the floor around her. There was not a shred of unease from the way she skimmed over the outfits Rikako and Nansu were wearing, and nodded as if she admired the craft. It seems it's not just the children you're trying to extract. Was I really truly deceived by Sir Virgilius? Maybe I should have paid heed to the caution. Don't come a step closer. I know you're head over heels for this tech. When flip, and I could destroy every bit of data you've gathered. Got it? You should probably actually read the TLs this time, by the way. Oh, okay. Rikako warned, holding a lever. Jumsoon gave a vacant look at Rikako with a mysterious expression, and she raised the corners of her mouth very slowly. It was not my intention to eavesdrop upon you, but you seem to be rather fond of realities. What? Rikako returned. She seemed to be taken aback by that arbitrary remark. Reality. People and their obsession with it. Personally, I'm averse to that word. It's a bit of a head scratcher? Oh, okay. Her wandering eyes suddenly fixed their gaze on Rikako. And then... Oh, rip Rikako. Wait, that looks like Junso. Is he a double agent? Rikako frowns in pain and staggers. On the other hand, Nansu maintained the usual calm expression, only he wasn't offering a hand to help Rikako stand. All my days, the ring. If only she got a ring identity. Hey there, Ryoshu Gamer 1918. Welcome, welcome. It didn't take long to grasp what had just taken place before my eyes. Comprehending it, on the other hand, needed more time. The blade Nansu was holding had impaled Rikako's abdomen. Rikako seemed to have realized the same thing, looking down at the blade poking through her stomach. She then turned to Nansu, who was standing at her back. Sim Nansu! Like you said, ma'am, I figured we were on our own to make ourselves a way to live. Damn, Nansu! I thought you were cool! You damn little... When did you join hands with them? When we were setting up the operation. I knew a grade 3 fixer like me stood no real chance. You gotta show some love for your office mates at least. You've sunk low. And just said it yourself too. You don't put others in your priorities when you can't take responsibility for their survival. Truth is, I considered bringing you around, but I decided not to. You're not the type to mingle with others easily after all. Is that what you meant by... Well, This was reality for me. Nothing's too low for reality, is it? Mikako opened her mouth as if to say something, but soon closed it back. Maybe she had run out of strength. I couldn't find anything left to say. It took hearing Rikako collapse on the floor for me to finally speak up. Why would you... In response, Nonsul shrugged with a quiet cackle. It was as though he were telling me that the answer was stated multiple times already. In some ways, his gesture resembled what Rikako did a bit ago, and that's when something finally dawned on me. If this was the reality, perhaps the pupa shouldn't have left the cocoon in the first place. There's no such thing as sensible pain. Ah, thank you for coming all the way here, my precious gem. Gem soon spoke to me in an elegant voice, smooth as a marble. To tell you the truth, I had given up on the gem that is you, Garnet. The red gaze was a massive thorn standing in the way. You'd even become a fixer. What a hassle this became. Me? I aim to create uncompromising perfection, but because of your little deviation, I almost had to compromise with reality and undermine the integrity of my art. I've been feeling rather unhappy because of that. I really owe you my thanks. She even bowed her head like she sincerely wanted to show her gratitude. Realizing that all my friends, including myself, were treated like nothing more than materials for a twisted work of art, set my heart ablaze with anger. Why? Why did it have to be my friends? What kind of grudge did you have against the Red Gaze? I vented my unbridled anger at the maestro. Why did it have to be the orphanage? What they needed was an ounce of happiness, not more tragedy. Who were destitute children, who were trying to find crumbs of joy in the smallest things. I can't imagine a reason to go to the lengths of inflicting misfortune on people like us. They don't care. It's just another day in the city. Grudge? Yet, Jem soon tilted her head as though she heard an unfamiliar word. I bear no ill feelings like that. Don't you know what I mean, Garnet? That orphanage was chosen. Chosen? That's not a word I was familiar with. It's where the first miracle occurred. Right there, right then, where you were. Miracle? Never saw any miracles. We're busy savoring little bits of happiness that weren't anything more than regular occurrences to others. We've never... Then it hit me. One thing flashed across my mind. It was a catastrophe, not at all reminiscent of a miracle. It was the exact opposite of one. The instant where a terrible mass of flesh appeared at the orphanage and took so many lives. Chaos that Lapis and I could barely survive. An event that caused Mr. Virgilius, the Red Gaze, to stop visiting the orphanage. Is that what she's calling a miracle? Wait, you aren't talking about the instant on Christmas Eve, are you? What else could it be? It couldn't have happened on a more fitting day. Truly befitting the holy eve commemorating birth. It was a miraculous day of uncut gems beginning to shine. I wanted to believe I heard wrong. It was simply out of the question. That was no miracle. My body's shaking. I was overwhelmed with fury upon listening to her disregard for everything I cared for. My head was boiling with rage. I couldn't even form my words properly. Just walking in without context, I've got betrayal, stabbing, and flesh monsters attacking orphans. Now to attempt to piece the rest together. Yeah, it's just Sayano Uta. Hey there, Snowy Aria. Welcome. I hope you're doing well today. No, it will mark the beginning of everything. The starting point of innumerable worlds that we will unravel from now on. While I stay silent, Jem soon keeps running her mouth. Is she talking about the mirror? You may not have known this, Garnet, But our gallery had been planning to make something fascinating for a good while. For that to happen, we must dedicate utmost care to every step of it. We can't settle for anything less than what is chosen by the world, Garnet. You heard its cry, didn't you? The first of the resurrected to return from the scattered light. Oh, that's what she's talking about. Her voice raised higher and higher as she went on. An ecstatic flush suffused her face, and her eyes grew thin as if she were observing something captivating. And, in a moment, she made an offer. Mr. Nanso, was it? Could you pull the lever, the yellow lever next to you all the way up, if you please? This lever. Nansul hesitates for a moment, and I look into his reluctant eyes. No. Please say that's not it. Please don't accept that as part of your reality. I stare at him with pleading eyes. It's what you think it is. Even though I didn't know the lever's exact function, one thing was clear to me, that everything I did to save my friends will be for naught. That everything will start falling apart right before my eyes. That this downfall will be caused by someone who I thought was family. That I'll no longer be able to save Lapis. Understood. Nonso! A shout akin to a scream escaped my throat. My legs, which were frozen stiff until a second ago, began sprinting towards Nonso. But I was wrong to the end. Shut the hell up. No. No between two worlds. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. There we go. You can do the instrumental, but not the vocals. Sorry. I was wrong to the end. It was me who wasn't in his right mind. Rikako gave me harsh but truthful words, and yet I never could open my eyes. This is reality, Garnet. It's time to wake up. Disjoined worlds identity superposition device activated. Inflating refraction weight. Intensification sequence. Target. Maximum refraction. Following the announcement of a dry mechanical voice, a chorus of distressing hums filled the laboratory. It was the sound of rifts opening, and the sound of something shattering within me, impaled by the stake that is reality. Let's go, mirror time! Woohoo! Alright, let's see. Oh, Jumpsuit is male, but is referred to with female pronouns in this chapter of Leviathan. Jumpsuit's name is traditionally feminine in its formation, being a suffix typically reserved for females. Jumpsuit has a feminine appearance to Garnet's eyes, and he hasn't explicitly learned yet that Jumpsuit is a man. Oh, I see. Maestros are always referred to with he, as a form of respect to the title. Think of it as army privates referring to a female sergeant as sir. This is why Garnet maintains his incorrect assumption. Oh, I see. Failed the minigame in-universe. Anyway, time for shit to get stupid. Alright, let's go. Bring up the next one. Let me drink some of my banana milk. My throat's hurting again. Let the back of me never ending yes. Okay. As the sound of riffs echoed through the laboratory, the children inside the machines began to spit out unintelligible things, screams, and painful wails. Stop! Please! I don't want to see. I'm looking into myself. I could understand what that last utterance meant. It was evident with the myriad of scenes that had unfolded in a flash before my eyes. At the center of them, all was my back. It was quite strange looking at countless versions of myself from behind. Though it wasn't terror I felt. The sight was rather tranquil, in fact. Perhaps a more apt way to put it would be that I was unsure of what emotions to feel. Then all the visions twist, flip, split, and waver, until everything begins to overlap. My multitudes occupying, or being placed in the space, turned around to look at me. My eyes meet one of the dozens, hundreds, thousands of my other selves. It might be his that met mine. At a moment's notice, the sceneries fade away. As though claimed by a bottomless chasm, I vanished into the tremor. Garnet Tremor ID? When? I remember that shit Denver was taking? Yeah, Denver, what the fuck are you doing? So that was mirror shit. Was that it? Mirror drug? I was on my knees, wailing in the midst of heavy rain. Seemed like it? Oh. Damn, they even making drugs of mirrors in this universe? Also, I just finished my banana milk. Hold on. Let me go get some water. I didn't think that my banana milk was that low, but I guess I drank a lot while I was watching Common yesterday. Okay, I'll be right back. Damn, I regret not buying some cow piss while I was at the Combini. The mirror edibles. That's some good shit. Some what? It's it's called cow piss. CALPIS. Not cow piss. I know it sounds like that, but it's cow piss. Uh-huh. It's a good drink. Shut up. I was on my knees, wailing in the midst of heavy rain. The storm in my heart raged with such fury that the downpour couldn't compare. This too is Wuthering Heights. As my despair grows grimy and sodden in the rain. Why am I crying out here? I was a member of the Streetlife office. Oh shit, Streetlight. An unremarkable one with unimpressive pay and a lack of fame. In other words, it was a job I had no reason to be attached to. Then, one day, we were invited to a place called the library and lost Lapis there while I survived. Oh shit. So Lapis was Mars? I left you behind as you became part of the library's collection. Oh my god! Holy shit! It's just the CG from Marina. You stupid idiot. Why? Oh my god. I hoped that it wasn't Lapis who'd replaced the cake in the fridge. I remember that one time, on a rainy day like this one, I got into a fight with Lapis over something small. I was so heated by her mocking tone, I was on the verge of raising my fist. But when I simmered down a little, I noticed that she was holding an umbrella over my head as she kept replying to my grumples in the same sassy tone. The streetlight always stands solemnly, shining down in the dark. Letting it gently illuminate the lurking waves of my heart would often help me calm down. That made it my wish to be like you, shining ever more brightly in the dark. I have to get Lapis's book from the library. I gotta get all my friends and break into the library. That's what I can do for... For a while, I poured out feelings I couldn't quite describe in the rain, and the light shining down on me gradually dimmed before eventually fizzling out. My surroundings blur again like raindrops running along a window. The me in the scenery casts his gaze upon me to meet my eyes. I don't try to avoid my glare. Director! How could this even be considered tolerable? The outcry of someone breathing heavily from uncontained emotions reached my ears. As I looked around upon hearing the unfamiliar title. Oh, I hate that picture. The outcry of someone breathing heavily from uncontained emotions reached my ears. As I looked around upon hearing the unfamiliar title, a desk piled high with papers caught my eye. You can have it later? Okay. I felt it was a rather friendly sight, and with that, the feeling of unfamiliarity dissolved like spume. Or now if it's not capturing your entire screen. I mean, it's, you know, it's safe for work. Oh, let me see. Oh my god. Good. That's some good shit. Also, hold on. Let me mute for a second. Okay, thought I had a visitor. Disagree. I always appreciate maids. Reverberation Ensemble can get it. Let me see, where was I at? I took a deep breath. My men are too easily upset at this immediate injustice, too eager to argue against it with logic. At such small things, at such insignificant things. The southern branch of the She Association was rotten to the core. I aimed to excise each and every trace of the corruption taking hold on this organization. Wait! Is he Yujin now? Boundary of Death, let's go gambling? Also, hold on. Again. And yeah, you hear them. Oh, shut up, Sinclair. Oh, whoops. Go away, go away, Sinclair. Cromer's outside. Just ignore her. She'll go away. Yeah, Cromer was outside of my window. Had to escort her away. Ding. Southern branch of sea. Oh, I already read that. But I still had work to do. Though I hadn't had proper sleep for 10 days, this was not yet the time for rest. I could only say this. I want you to suppress your feelings and remind yourself, money, fame, and power rule over this world. I thought about the fixers of partnered offices whom I'd heard were all killed off. The Section 3 director had summoned me one day to demand straight away that I report what I'm up to. When I replied that I planned to fix what is broken, they pulled out a pack of cigarettes and burnt through it in one sitting. Why that person decided to help with the cause was beyond me. They swore they'd retire next year, too. As a matter of fact, we might face annihilation ourselves if we're not careful. Or worse, we might already be on the way down. I wonder what look will be on Thelma's face when he hears of Section 4's demise. It was my job to harden up my subordinates and assure them that we're almost through the crisis. I should tell them with unwavering confidence. However, being confident and having to be confident were two different matters. I had to ensure that everything I did wasn't a fool's errand. I must see to it that this is not to be a dead end for my men. To ease this troubled mind, I turned to look out the window. Then, a gust of wind blew outside, turning the world upside down once more. My eyes meet another's. The broiling heat wakes me up at dawn. The weak breeze produced by my decrepit fan does little to dry off the beads of sweat trickling down my back. I had to be up by 6 in the morning anyway. I got a decent post at the local library, and I could avoid the attention of my landlord by leaving at this time of day. He forgave me with a generous smile when I couldn't meet rent for 2 months, but his understanding of juvenility turned into clamorous demands once he noticed my overdue rent would continue to grow for another month or 2. I could use some cash. Cass? Dog? I keep writing and erasing text messages. Living in a rural area, my parents didn't know how pricey things are in the big city. They think I've taken the midnight shift to make myself some extra money, but they don't know how hard it is to cover the gas, water, and electric bills for my cramped lodging, on top of food, travel, and all the other little things. They were reassured by their son that his academic excellence as the top of his class would put him and his family on the road to luxury, but they didn't know that I applied for a lesser university to secure scholarships. They don't know that I had to take a semester off to make a living, or that I was busy flying from table to table serving customers at a barbecue restaurant, while others were busy flying in and out of the country, building international experience and studying abroad. I wanted to know where it all went wrong, but with everything taken together, there's only one conclusion to make. I was the one who tried and failed to qualify for the jobs. It must have been my lack of effort that got me rejected. If only I'd slept just a little less than I did. If only I'd brought one fewer piece of clothing. If only I hadn't gotten my hands on a different food because I got sick of instant ramen. If only I didn't have to study less and work more to make up for the hole it made in my balance. Do you think the person writing this is venting through this right now? If only I didn't let temptation get the better of me. It's because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't trying hard enough. A little. Yeah, this sounds a bit too real and a little detailed. I'm like, I think the writer has a first-hand experience with this. I stepped outside to get some fresh air and gazed at the sky. I was asked one time about what kind of person I desired to be as a kid during a job interview. I'd wanted to say I wished I could be rich enough to take a hot bath in winter. That was enough for me. The interviewer didn't seem to agree, though. I should get another job. I'll get up at 4 every morning. I ran my fingers, looking up job openings on my phone, looking for gym receptionist. My eyes caught a good enough offer. You can't find a part-time job that pays this much for these hours anywhere. I might even find time to study during the shift if I ask the owner nicely. I was immersed in such thoughts under the blazing sunlight. Yeah! Ooh, nice art. I might have been too caught up in my thoughts to notice the terrified screams and people fleeing in chaos. I thought that the shadow cast over me was a cloud or something. It was a particularly large and dark shadow, but I couldn't find a strange. Oh, is this before the smoke wars? When I looked up again, a plane came into my sight. It was flying far lower than usual. It looked as if it was about to plunge into the ground. I can't seem to recall the last time I saw that thing called an airplane fly above the city. More importantly, I can't tell for sure if I knew what an airplane was in the first place. Where am I anyway? Do airplanes not exist in the city? Is that too high tech? Was that an AU? More AU than the other AUs. What district of the city did I think I was in? A wave of nausea rises in me as the strangeness of myself existing in this foreign place, as if I always belonged here, becomes apparent. But all that confusion is useless now. Try as I might, there's no way I can outrun that massive bird of steel. I can tell from this feeling It's a race I'm doomed to lose. Much like my struggle against poverty. Oh my god, this is just like my dream of me getting hit by an asteroid. In the end, I can't escape the explosion that the plane will cause, crashing into the street. I sure hope this doesn't evoke a nightmare in me tonight. All because I was too slow. I was too incapable. I frequently have dreams of shit falling from the sky and killing me. It is like a regular occurrence nightmare for me. If it's not asteroids, it's like planes crashing. Yeah, I've had nightmares of planes crashing before. Oh god. I should have taken out life insurance. When I came home every winter, I would see my father's back as he carried the cauldron of water he boiled with our barely functioning gas stove. That was the last image that flashed in my mind. In a blow of hot wind, everything went dark. Before I can realize it, my eyes come into contact with yet another eye, and the world shimmers once again. Next up is a genuine article presented by Master Garnet himself, an orange gemstone processed out of carnelian, a subject procured from an orphanage in District 22. A voice coming from the side opened my eyes. An orphanage. Carnelian was a shy kid who would only nod or shake heads instead of speaking up. But when we were alone, I was taught how to whistle with grace. I take a moment to examine myself. I'm wearing clothes only members of the ring wear. Next to me is an auctioneer, excitedly following raised hands and chanting bids. I'm at the gallery's auction. There, we have 3 million on. The gentleman over there put up 4 million. Yes, now we're at 5 million. Will anyone give me more? Bing! And there we have it. A deal at 5 million on. Congratulations! The strike of the gavel brought me back to reality. I could finally take a close look at the item placed at the auctioneer's side. You are gems. You must discover that you will possess unparalleled beauty if you keep cutting and polishing yourselves. I was reminded of the lesson my teacher would preach time and time again. Teacher, have I been to a seminar at one of the galleries? Or this is just like Steven Universe. The words should have been well known to me, but it's bothering that it occurred to me in an unfamiliar scene. That mattered little, though, compared to this jewel before my eyes. Oh, he saw lapis, didn't he? So beautiful. Oh no, I guess not. The gemstone glistened with a brilliant red hue, reminiscent of sunset. My eyes filled with ecstatic delight upon beholding its luster. The mystifying and magnificent color is exhibited only by trapping the rough gem in extreme heat and pressure, until every aspect they possess has been compressed into a single point. I can picture the process vividly in my head. I can almost sense the aesthetics of cruelty at the center of this precious stone. I want to see more. What splendor will a gem of greater size show me? Now that I think about it, a friend by the name of Aqua had clear blue eyes, resembling an ocean vibrant with life. If I can have a gem holding that color, if there's a way to make it... No. I shook my head in immediate denial of the thought I just had, but it was no use. There's no hiding that I considered how to process my friends into luxury items just seconds ago, as if I was willing to carry it out as soon as I had the method. That, in turn, makes me wonder how I came up with the idea of processing friends. Had I ever had a friend named Aqua? Before that, I can't be sure if I ever had friends at all. Nothing is clear. Am I suffering from some kind of hallucination? Blurry memories of unknown origins are trying to obstruct my vision and judgment. Huh? I can no longer find the reason for the tears that were flowing from my eyes. Ah, of course. It would seem Master Garnet has been touched by the recognition of the true value of his artwork. The auctioneer glamorized my tears as the signs of overflowing gratitude shed by a moved artist. As revolting as it is, I can't say that it's wrong. I adored this gem more than anyone, yet I loathed it at the same time. Why? Why? Why do I loathe this beautiful yet melancholic piece of work? Melancholic? What about this gem evoked such a feeling in me? Wasn't processing a friend the most rapturous part of making jewelry? No, that's no friend. It's a gem. An uncut gem. Why are these odd memories invading my mind? Keep it together, Maestro. Before I knew it, the crowd murmurs, applauds, and all the other noises tormenting my ears ceased. The voices. Eyes send a piercing glare towards me from the cracked window. Pointing hands extend from sleeves belonging to different clothes, and mouths move in unison to speak one word: Garnet. I stumbled, trying to regain my balance. The lab was in my sight again. I felt as if only a fraction of a second has passed, but simultaneously, I felt like I had just gone through multitudes of decades and different lives. Tubes have gone quiet, not a voice is heard. I peek into the machines to find out the truth behind this stillness. Damn. His friends have been encased in amber. That sucks. Inside, I find friends wrapped in some sort of translucent membrane, twitching irregularly. They were curled up like fetuses waiting to be birthed anew, rejecting all interference, yearning to return to that primal state. Just as I was overcome with vertigo and sickness, the world shifted yet again. A foul performance relentlessly stabs me. Damn, I wonder if this is what the sinners have to go through whenever they get a new mirror identity. Probably not. It's been better refined. Thousands of notes penetrate the body, echoing through the whole nest. All city dwellers stand in place, taking in the tidal waves of music. Are we a musician of Bremen now? Oh, holy shit! Holy shit! Oh my god! Is that the Black Silence? It's the guy from Illusions. Holy shit. Is Lapis Angelica? Burning anguish swells in my heart. It's too hot for me to try and hold it. What lies before my eyes is beyond all belief. It hurts to look. Perhaps this is the kind of occasion that brings a person to bloody tears. Why do I have to be robbed of my mundane happiness the instant I find it? Why was the paillon I bought crispier than ever today? Sorry, Lapis. I was too late. Oh my god, Lapis is Angelica. I was right. I remember you saying that you were a fan of the streets of music, so it'd be okay. This tragedy could have been avoided had I found a way for us to move into a nest. The piano had long since ceased, but its sound still stings me. Maybe the performance has never ended in my heart. I'm gonna live the rest of my life in regret of this moment, staring at you in helplessness, having become part of the performance, drenched in notes of blood raining from above. This silence, this hell. My knees dropped to the ground, my legs fully bent. It didn't hurt. I am once again touching the cold floor of the laboratory. Dozens of worlds come crashing in, and then sweep away in waves. In one instant, I was a fixer at Streetlight Office who had just lost his coworker. In another, I was a director at She Association sending its fixers to doom. I was a poverty-stricken job seeker in an unrecognizable metropolis. A maestro of the ring, absorbed in beauty. A fixer who faced the tragic loss of his whole family. The despair all my selves carried was unbearably torturous. I felt the urge to turn my eyes away from everything and take refuge at the edge of the world. Damn. This guy's life sucks in like every universe. That's gotta suck. Reminds me of Amnesia. But that wasn't to be. New Yorker ID. There's still too much that remains for me to neglect and hide from. Even though the memories I experienced were harrowing, the pain I felt was proof of the love I held. I see that even if all is fated to disappear without a trace one day, there's so many things that shine, while the moment is in your hands. That crossing this vast, harsh wilderness is not an insufferable task, thanks to the patches of flowers I find along the way. That was a scent my friends deserve to perceive. They were not meant to be forsaken to such fate in a place like this. Holy shit! Let's fucking go! Oh, that's a cool ass image. Look at that. Where's the IRL ID? I see all of the IDs except for the person that got killed by the plane. Splendid, simply splendid, Garnet. Your sanity is intact at such a high refraction rate. This, contextually with no Limbus, was so fucking stupid. No, that was cool. I mean, you could still no, I'm coming off this as someone that played Limbus, so I can't speak as someone that doesn't know about Weir Worlds. I heard Jumsoon's voice through the window. I must pull Mr. Strahd out of his chamber and put you in there. You are the brightest gem all along. The sinners are cool at least. This guy isn't. What? No, Garnet's cool. He got a Roland ID. No one else has gotten a Roland ID. Hiya, Elio. Oh, hey there, Phoenix. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing good today. Mesmerized look I'm sure I had at one point, and when reflection is severely repulsive. That was the most disgusting pair of eyes out of all those refracted that I saw over the window. I've seen many pitiable, desolate, and sorrowful eyes up to now, but that was the one I can't stand. Even a minute's brush of eye contact could engulf me in an uncontrollable fury. Experimental data is almost complete. Just a tiny bit more. I can perfect it at last. The glass window. So remember, engrave those moments in my memory. The pain will be forged into a knife that will cut through your heart. My own guilt, combined with the guilt pouring in from my friends laid inside the machines. When I find the determination to keep these feelings with me, rather than try to shake them off, I realize now that although my body is in complete disorder, my mind is able to confront it directly. I'm good. Napping off and on all day. Ooh, I wish that were me. I want to take a nap. A nap sounds good right now. You... And now I declare, adjusting my halved, crumpled mask, feeling the silence that has shrouded me in darkness radiate outward. You'll die by my hands, in the most painful way imaginable. Wait, you don't think Garnet's cool? That was cool! That was cool! He's got a Roland ID. It's fine. Okay, let me... Okay, next chapter will be last one. And then we'll play Limbus. As I thought, Yeonji was right. I don't think huge bitch who decides to be someone cooler is cool, no. But he did. He became someone cooler. Someone in a lab coat entered and broke the silence. Currently warming the nap spot for you then. Oh, thank you, Phoenix. Nunsul made way for the scientist. It was a familiar face. The same person seen overseeing the experiment alongside Jumsoon, and operating the machines in the footage Rikako showed me. Judging from his indifference, I suspect Nunsul snuck that man in when he and Rikako had first infiltrated the place. That result is a first even for you, isn't it, Asiya? Jumsoon takes a step back so the man she called Asiya can speak freely. His eyes seemed to be locked on something far beyond his surroundings. It was as if he deemed the incapacitated ring underlings, or Rikako's body lying on the floor, unworthy of his gaze. It appeared as though Asiya was observing me through the glass wall at this time. The glass window is a technology that can superimpose worlds upon each other, albeit in a blurry state. Even though it's not as stable as the mirror, is capable of superposing a larger number of worlds. His eyes carefully examine my body in detail, scanning through my limbs that have taken different forms, going from the right arm to the left, then my torso, left and right leg, chasing over like a slithering snake. And most of all, the curious stare of his emotionless eyes eventually met mine and stopped there. More precisely, he was seeing the eyes of many different garnets layered over them. Oh, I could see an exotic sparkle in his eyes. Oh, hi there, Hannah! Hello! Nappy, welcome! I'm amazed by that man's ability to bear it all. Of course he can. It's a gem discovered by yours truly. Emotions flooding in from all manner of worlds must be fighting for control as we speak, yet he's able to stand his ground without being swept away. His assessment of my current state was accurate. As he put it, my mind was being fractured into pieces, various pain-filled sounds echoing within, pleased to look at my scars, pleased to see my suffering, raging, crying, screaming in resentment of my adversary, myself, or the world as a whole. Different though they are in approach, all the instances of pain are equal in pitch. With each blink of an eye, I had to withstand moments that removed me from my own self to return here. Asiya nods in marvel. Ah, so you had learned how to maintain the focus. I looked up at him. That's why you were able to keep your minds as your own, despite embracing so many pains that not a trace of your original exterior remains. There still are foggy spots here and there, but those can be clarified with no problem. And then, once I do... Unable to contain his thrill, he gapes wide. Ultimately, could become a singularity to surpass the mirror of my friend Yusung's creation. All it took was curving the refraction rate slightly, and the things it achieved! Refraction rate. I've heard that term before. In Lapis's footage, Jimsoon ordered researchers to raise it far past the normal amount, and that scientist did as she told, in spite of the concerns he raised. Consequently, the children shattered miserably. A higher refraction rate means you yield more of your heart to the glass window, but it allows for more panes of glass to stack. It can only be successful if you master the delicate act of perishing your heart without killing it, or spending a lot of money to whale in the gacha, like you're doing right now. Meaning, the kids who regress into cocooned forms were faced with as many, or perhaps thousands more, worlds with their reflected selves as I did, and couldn't withstand it. Now, tell me, little gem, how were you able to achieve it without any prior experience? I beg you, young friend, this has the potential to be greater than the mirror technology. My glass window can rise above all its competitors of the same nature. Let's put aside rubbish like the water or the puddle. Such luck-dependent things aren't worthy of being considered scientific. Damn. So we could have used a glass pane instead of pulling in the gacha? Such passion. It really was worth risking Encore's pursuit to bring you here, Asiya. Jimsoon says, making satisfied eyes at Asiya. And all of this disgusts me to the core. It's simple. I decided to give them a piece of insight they seek so dearly. Mustering the strength to get this choked voice out of my throat. I have... What did you say, Garnet? Did the red gaze hand something over to you? Jimsoon approaches the glass wall to hear me better, to observe me closely for any precious techniques Mr. Virgilius might have granted me. What did she expect? Of course I wouldn't possess anything impressive like that. Though he gave me his gladius and coat, I'm no longer using either of them. Only, if I had to name the reason why I can bear the crushing weight of countless glass windows, I am going back with them. It's faith. Faith that I'll save Lapis and my friends, and return to the office with Mr. Virgilius. It'll keep me secure to the end of my rope. These kids will break free from their cocoons and come back to us. Lapis may be enduring immense pain somewhere here. She won't let go of the thread of hope. A massive lance, handcrafted by Alice Workshop's Meisters, falls into my right hand. In the world where I was a color, I knew how to wield that workshop's weapons. After... The memory vividly imprinted upon each fiber of my muscles shaped my posture into the ideal javelin thrower stance. I kill you. Damn! Garnet's cool! Garnet's cool! I like Garnet. Awesome. Creating an explosive shockwave thrashing the eardrums, I outstretched my arm in Jimsoon's direction. The lance crashes right in the middle of the glass wall. Jimsoon's brows flinched in response. The wall begins to crack around the workshop weapon and fell to bits with a loud crackle. That, very nice, yeah. He went through like a ton of mirror worlds in like 5 seconds, and then he has the power of a color fixer. Peak. The wall began to crack around the workshop weapon and fell to bits with a loud crackle. This is rather surprising. This glass can't be damaged with most weapons. I can see Jimsoon's face between the falling shards. Mild surprise is all you would show. I have no idea how clear and unshakable this faith sustaining me is. You couldn't imagine what it's like when you've lived a life of greed. But my faith is fervent, aflame. With the lance now departed, a bat is in my hands. Its heat burns my palms red, sending a wave of searing pain through the skin. But I soon realized that the scorching sensation came from the burn in my heart, not my hands. Oh shit, is he gonna distort? This mark was left when I lost what was precious to me, and it ached as I looked to the quietly flickering streetlight. Then, a spark flown from the fiery anguish landed on me. Layers of sorrow gently pile up, adding weight to the heat. Use Boundary of Death! Use Boundary of Death! Let's go gambling! Though my mind had wavered, I was able to handle it. That weighty pile of sorrow turns into anger. Speak. My body was propelled to Jimsoon's vicinity in an instant. Speak, damn you! Is this half-baked Furioso? It might be. The flaming bat. Oh, okay. It's still. God, what was her name? I know Mars's name. I forgot the girl's name. He's still the streetlight office ID, I guess. Oh, Lulu. That was her name. Yeah, he's still in Lulu ID. The flaming bat whistles towards Jimsoon's head. Are you reading this on a Google Doc? Pretty much, yeah. I'm reading it as like a PDF. The sounds of rushing wind and crackling fire follow after a short interval. Jimsoon turns to the side to dodge, but I won't give her room to breathe. The bat is swung left, right, and then a circle before flying downward. Yet Jimsoon evades it all with ease. Oh, that's the name of it! Half-baked Furioso. Oh my... Holy shit. Only a lingering trail of flame remains in the space. I can't allow her any quarter. This weapon won't work. I firmly planted my left leg on the floor, lifting my right leg to swing at Jimsoon. The Maester's outfit has a flexibility-enhancing material weaved into it, which allows me to deliver a more powerful kick. It was wisdom I earned through Maestro Garnet's window. Tell me how to bring them back to normal! The roundhouse kick caught her by surprise. Her reaction wasn't fast enough to get out of its way. The tip of my foot grazed her side, causing her to stumble. Still, the cocoons didn't seem to have left a good impact. She slows and turns her eye to the squirming kids inside the machines again. I'm overcome with unpleasant and appalling emotions. However, now is the time to suppress them. What are... I close my eyes and reach for the stillness in the dark. Then I find a red line and grasp it. Let's go! Boundary of Death! When I open opened my eyes. A red sword was gripped in my right hand. Boundary of death! Let's go gambling! Woo! The blade slashed at Jemsoon like a gale, leaving a crimson trace. I attacked with the intention to behead her, but she regained her balance quickly and deftly slipped away from the wall. I won't miss her this time. Let's fucking go! Boundary of death! Woo! You love to see it! The sword's direction shifted in a quick twist and headed for Jemsoon's left shoulder. The sturdiness and flexibility of the maester's outfit meant a sudden slash like this was unlikely to cut through, but in the world where I was a director at an association, I never once failed to slay a target with whom I made contact. An arm lopped off with its shoulder tumbled to the floor. Will you open up after I take your other arm? I was surprised by the way I spoke. I never thought I was capable of saying things like this. Threats or intimidation were usually a job for experienced fixers like Rikako or Denver. However, once I gave a lashing from my own tongue, I could see that it was another part of the struggle to stay alive. It wasn't a boastful display of expertise, or the symptom of a cold and uncaring heart. To tell you the truth, those cocoons are new to me too. Even though she had just lost an arm, Jemsoon's face still maintained an arrogant composure. Doesn't change that she's at a disadvantage. That much was clear. The tide of the battles should have turned in my favor with this. She has to be barely keeping herself up from the amount of blood she's losing. But Jemsoon's gleeful smile won't leave her face. My dear Garnet, I'm sorry to disappoint your desperation, but it's hard not to divert my attention to those curiosities. Don't be ridiculous. Who else could have? At some point. Asiya interrupted the conversation and began talking. It was in complete disregard of the fight that was taking place, or even the possibility that the sword I'm wielding, or the other weapons in the scene, might be pointed at him at any moment. He continues to talk as if such fears were redundant. At some point, crystalloid or ovoid transformations, such as these, began recurring on rare occasions after a failed test. Previously, all the failed subjects would do was shatter to pieces. What are you? It started happening around the second passing of the White Knights, presumably. What is intriguing is that natural occurrences of this phenomenon have been reported, completely unrelated to our experiments. I couldn't understand. You didn't make them that way on purpose? We? For what? Oh, Garnet, why would we ever partake in the worthless endeavor of encasing precious raw stones in those fleshy sacks? But then, those cocoons. I've yet to hear of any cases where subjects went back to their pre-cocoon state. While there have been attempts to forcibly open the chrysalides, the results were rather abysmal. They seem to undergo a mutation of sorts once cocooned. Why are you so apathetic about it? Aren't you saying those kids have no way to go back to normal? Well, it is what it is. What is this? Oh no. Oh no! 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 God damn it! Fucking no! Damn it! When will your milking cease, Atlas? God damn it. Please, please. Double Survivor 3, please. Please a crumb, please. I was just listening and thought that you were the yelling was about the story for a second. Yeah, Persona 4 remake rumors. Please, Atlas, I'm begging you, please. Stop. I'm gonna Aren't you saying those kids have no way to go back to normal? Well, it is what it is. Never know. The metamorphoses might yield even more valuable gems. You mean, there really is no way to turn them back? Is that right? No, it can't be. Whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to turn them back! Let's go, Roland! Woo! Yippee! I embrace silence. My hand is a revolver, like a skilled hunter. I have complete mastery of this weapon I've never used before. I pull the trigger without cocking the hammer to fire 6 shots. 2 of them manage to land on Jumsoon's upper body, but they fail to penetrate the clothing and bounce off as crumpled nuggets of lead. I push the cylinder outward to expel the spent casings. My other hand reaches for my waist, only to notice that I have no reserve ammo. The gun, having outlived its usefulness, is tossed at Jumsoon. I see the lance I threw at the glass wall now stuck on the floor. There's no need to think about what to do. I thrust it deep in my enemy's direction. She dodged? No, I won't let her again. A huge hammer is placed in my hands, and it ruthlessly slams into the ground where Jumsoon would have moved. She stepped back? Then the longsword should do it. A blade much taller than my height draws a large arc along the horizon, cutting across the hammer and lance lodged in the floor. More. I still need more. A Ranga dagger in my right hand. An Atlas gauntlet in my left. Or Alice. Is that Atlas? I can't see. Alice. I leap forward to see Jumsoon's infuriating mug, still showing no signs of panic. I jab a plate of steel into it and strike forth an edge of wrought iron. But she evades them. She dodges them all. That slimy crook won't let me hit her once. Why? I should have mastered these weapons. But it feels like my body can't replicate half of my knowledge. That definitely should be Atlas. Yeah, it says Alice in the text though. Weird enough. Huh. Minor spelling mistake. Die. No, I'm an idiot. Oh. Can't stop here. I fling the dagger, aiming for her heart. Alas, it's blocked by Jumsoon's weapon, held with her one arm. I need something more effective. Something other than the ones I've dropped on the floor. Now I hold a heavy mace. I viciously swing it to drive Jumsoon into a corner where she can't escape. She's cornered without a doubt, though I haven't managed to land a clean hit and make her visibly tense. That won't go on for long. The shotgun will do well against a corner target. I guess I should fix that later. Oh well. A curtain of black and white projectiles shower Jumsoon's body. Pellets, slugs, occasional flashes, and flames. After emptying the barrel, I toss the shotgun away and summon the greatsword, striking downward from head to toe. Unlimited blade works. Silver casings roll around the floor, along with empty shells. The smell of gunpowder rising from the spent ammo blends with the dust from broken tiles and walls, filling the room with odor. My last weapon will be Durandal. It will be her death sentence. With this one final blow, I will end Jumsoon's life. Alas. It was a half-baked Furioso. And then what? What's the point when it won't bring Lapis back? Suddenly, a mournful question rings in my mind. Lapis, she who was reduced to piano notes and scattered in the wind. The woman who will no longer turn up, even if I wait day and night. The woman who is gone in every sense, leaving not a gentle breeze as she passed. The rest of my life will be shrouded in horrible darkness. Nothing will console me. In my world, gone forever pitch black, sorrow will be the one thing staring straight into me. So, it'll be all the same, even if I break this string of wrath before my eyes. Nothing will change for me, even if I brandish my sword for a better tomorrow. for you are trapped in the past, unable to join me in the present. No matter how far I go, all that awaits will be graves. Durandal didn't come, and at last, as though shells are being taken off, I'm returned to the man I originally was. The air around me wavers with the heat leaving my body. While I kept pulling out weapons to attack with, the burden on my heart grew, and eventually, the reflections fell off, layer after layer. Done already? Seeing me stop dead in my tracks, Jimsoon raises her weapon with one arm. All that onslaught was for naught. I was helpless against her assault, having lost the strength to fight back. Well, bye, Garnet. It was peak while it lasted. What I need is that brain of yours. I promise to show you even more worlds through reflections. Oh god, he's gonna get the Lobotomy Corporation treatment. I hope you don't mind, my Garnet. Farewell, Garnet. I loved you in Steven Universe. Hey, Varn. I thought I could get back to my feet, but it was no use. My legs were sprawled on the other side of the room, broken and tattered. Whoop. The lids of laboratory pods opened one by one, letting out shrieks. I dragged myself along the floor with my hands to take a closer look. Oh shit! What emerged from the cocoons were neither butterflies nor friends. Agreed to ya. Whoops, sorry, you're not actually any of those characters. You're just a loser. Sorry. They were things, doing nothing other than screaming, crawling, one after another. Things unknown to me were escaping the machines. Well, sucks to suck, I guess. Everything crashed to an end. Those beings crying in an unrecognizable language had not an ounce of possible humanity left in them. I get the feeling that I've been through this before. At least, a darkly stained garnet behind one of the windows has. The inability to do anything, and endless despair. Overwhelmed by that emotion, I retreated inward. I was subject to constant pressure. The weight of cumulus glass panes finally sinks in. Curses screamed by myself from numerous worlds pressed down on me all at once. Bent, shrunk, and warped was my mind, having nowhere to fall back. I want to regress back into the void where I would feel nothing. Tack. Reminded of that rainy day. Feelings rise up against my will like dead fish floating to the surface belly up. Of course, that unwillingness itself has long diminished. Tack. Creepy and foul music enveloping the city passes my eardrums and drops into my heart with such force that it could erode. He's distorting! Tack! The suffocating emotions I felt that day constantly strangle me. My friends hid into cocoons. I want to hide as they did. Tack! But then they crawl out. What emerged were indescribable beings. Friends. Plunk! Sorry, everyone. I was too late. Let's stop here. I think it's enough. No! Garnet! This can't be... How can this be? Shouts coming from outside grow faint. I slowly close my eyes, hoping they won't open again. Why must you, of all gems, go inside a cocoon? I hope no one comes looking for me. This will be a comfort I won't give up. Sia, explain to me, just what is this cocoon? And why does it have to ruin our experiments? It was so simple after all. It's as simple as abandoning myself. There's nothing more to it than closing my eyes and leaving my body for hungered sins to feast on. Like that, I curled up in a tiny little world. Inside I faced the fires of guilt, extending an arm to shake my head. Who does this guy think he is? Isamu? Half right? Oh. Wow. See, Garnet is an idiot loser. He became Isamu. Well, that is a good ending point for Leviathan for today, I think. And you know what happens to idiot losers. They go in their cocoon and then I drag them out and stuff them in lockers. They turn into Pekatula. They don't even get to distort. So I guess Lapis manifested ego then, since we have Coddle around still. We have lobotomized the corporation. Good job, team. Yeah, that was really neat. I like that. This and the last chapter are really good. Your man's peak is Pekatula. all of the various universes' experience has turned him into Pekatula. Alright, I am gonna go on a BRB and snack on something real fast. But I will be back momentarily for some Limbus. So see y'all in a bit. Don't put that up yet.